Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Oh, jeez. Where do we begin with that? Well, first, welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. That was a nightmare. No doubt about it. That was a disgrace. That was embarrassing. And at the end of the day, that's essentially what you thought was going to happen when a 1-5 football team played a 1-4-1 football team. That was a joke, and I feel bad for anybody watching that outside of Eagles and Giants fans. And to be fair, I feel bad for them as well. I feel bad for myself, and I feel bad for everybody else involved who sat on the couch and decided, I'm going to watch this football game, because that is the complete opposite of what you just watched. You probably could have had a better time watching Joe Biden and Donald Trump go back and forth, and that sure is saying a lot, because you want to talk about something that is pathetic, that sure is it. But so is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. Look, I'm excited that they won the game, because it means that the game against the Cowboys have more meaning for whatever that is worth, right? Because we can see that this team is so flawed and it's a joke, but it's a win. And they needed to win this game if you want to keep this weird, optimistic feeling of winning the division alive. So many things went wrong throughout this process, though. Carson Wentz, very inconsistent. His great moments were great. His bad moments were really bad. Doug Pederson, he has lost his damn mind. Honestly, I don't think he understands what he is doing at times. Special teams made crucial mistakes. Not just Jake Elliott, but Cam Johnston as well. Someone who we just assume is going to punt the football so many damn yards downfield because he's great at what he does normally. But that first touchdown, he shafted that bad boy, gives the Giants good field position, and boom, there you go. Crayvon LeBlanc gets waxed by Golden Tate of all people, and it's 7-7 with the blink of an eye. So special teams. While the defense created turnovers, and you'll see the stat sheet afterwards, you got a Jalen Mills interception. You had the Brandon Graham strip at the end, which sealed the deal, and you had Josh Sweat get his hands on a fumble. So they did turn the ball over, so it's hard for me to just shred them to pieces, but I saw an 80-yard run by Daniel Jones, which should have been taken to the house. Wow, he's going to have nightmares about that one, because you missed a big-time opportunity to have a very special touchdown run, and you fall flat on your face from what? From tripping over the turf? I mean, come on. And not only that, that 97-yard drive, unacceptable. Now, you can say the Eagles got lucky because Daniel Jones on third down missed Ingram. And did he really miss Ingram, or did Ingram miss the pass? Well, Ingram missed the pass. That's probably reality. But how many times do we need to replay, I don't know, Nelson Aguilar missing a big drop? J.J. Arcega-Whiteside missing a big drop, and the Eagles lost the game. And nobody really said, well, they lost the game because of those missed drops. It was Carson Wentz failed. That was the message after those games previously. So when it works in our favor, when it works in the Eagles' favor, I don't want to hear it. Because it didn't come into play when Carson Wentz got a loss on his record, when Aguilar dropped one, when J.J. Arcega-Whiteside dropped one. Name anybody who was dropping a bunch of passes in the past for Carson Wentz, and that was never discussed the way that this one is being discussed with Ingram after the game. So, no, I won't accept that. I won't allow that, although I do understand that that was a moment for the Giants to capitalize, and they missed out on their opportunity. And I would say, well, good teams make sure that you make them pay when that happens. I don't really feel that this team is a good team that made the Giants pay. The Giants are just the Giants, and it kind of happened. But you do need to tip your cap to Carson Wentz at the end. His last 2 games, the fourth quarter stats are pretty impressive. 5 touchdowns, 118.2 passer rating. He was something else in those last 2 drives. That throw to Boston Scott, that is elite of elite. That is one of the best throws that you can possibly make. And kudos to Boston Scott for actually catching the ball, too. That was a tough catch. But the way that he had the defender on him like that, that was a really, really insane throw that needs to be recognized as holy hell. The problem is there's a lot of inconsistency involved with Carson Wentz that makes you frustrated. So the first drive, awesome. The first play of the game. How much have I been calling for Deshaun Jackson in plays other than, hey, go long? I know what he can do when he goes long, and I think that's important, but give your playmakers the ball and allow them to make plays. The first play of the game, you have some trickery involved. You fake it here. You toss it to Deshaun Jackson. He goes around and makes a play. Then you get a first down because you go to Deshaun Jackson by the sideline, using Deshaun Jackson in other ways than just going long. It was great early on. The script was awesome. The script was working. Creativity, motion. And then as soon as the script is over, this head coach has this team playing so dead. This head coach is calling plays that don't make any sense, and there's no creativity whatsoever. How can you game plan such great creativity? I'm going to acknowledge the scripted plays were really good, like very, very solid out of Doug Pederson. And then when it's over, it looks like an entirely different squad that had no comparison to what you saw right from the jump. I don't know how that's possible. Go back to it. You know, I heard some of the guys talking about this on Eagles Postgame Live. Why can't you go back to that? Go back to some of that. It was working. You can go back to the scripted plays later on in the game. You can use those plays again, right? So Carson was great. The last 2 drives, they were down 11 points with 6 minutes to go. So I know it feels like a loss, and I will probably focus on the negatives way more than the positives. No doubt about it, actually, when looking at my notes here, right? So there's a lot more negatives involved because it feels like they punch you in the face. They punch you in the gut. They punch you in the balls, and your balls are in your stomach a bit. That's what it feels like the Eagles just did to you. But they came out victorious. So you got to tip your cap. Down 11 with 6 minutes to go. Do you know how many people felt like this was over? How many people said, yeah, right, Carson Wentz, good luck. And he went on a couple drives, bing, bang, boom. And then at the end, not only was Carson in a tough spot because Jason Kelce, sorry, I had a blank. I just blanked out there. The Eagles were in a tough spot because Jason Kelce, of all people, gets a face mask call, and now you're right there at the goal line and you get pushed all the way back? That's a tough spot to be in. Now, I'll give Doug Pederson credit here. That he did a good job with time management, clock management, and timeouts late in the game, right? That should be recognized. He had good moments when it came to the clock management. The problem is way too many wrongs for that to make up for Doug Pederson's night. So where do we begin with Doug Pederson? Well, hold on. Let me finish on Carson Wentz first. So the interception can't happen. That interception cannot happen. The Eagles turned the Giants over twice in the first half, and they had 0 points to show for it. Missed a field goal, a 29-yarder. Come on, Jake Elliott. Fireable offense, a 29-yarder. Did you see his face afterwards? He knew. He knew how bad that was. That was pathetic. Unacceptable out of him. And there's been a lot of talk, a lot of conversation about who is Jake Elliott. And there's some stats to back up. He has not been good since getting that big payday. And guess what? You need to snap the hell out of it because this team is going to need you. And late in the game, you keep thinking about those 3 points you missed out on. Well, when it was 21-16, think about how big 3 points would have been in terms of that last drive. Not needing a touchdown. It would be a 2-point game. If you hit the 3 points earlier, it would have been 21-19. Totally different spot, and the game has changed completely in terms of where you need to get to on the field. Now, you can argue that this might have helped them because it forced Doug Pederson and Carson Wentz to go with a, hey, we need a touchdown mentality instead of maybe playing soft at times just to try and go for the field goal. And then who knows, Jake Elliott could have missed the field goal. So, hey, you can argue that this could have been a blessing in disguise. But getting back to Carson Wentz, that interception, it can't happen. I don't know what he was trying to do. You need to get that out of his mind. Not only that, he tried that shovel pass when his knee was going down, and he tried this shovel pass where he hit someone in the back. Just go down with it, dude. It doesn't always have to be the hero play. And one of the worst things I've ever seen is when he's getting pressured, he's running around in the backfield, doing a little dipsy-doodling, right? And he's running down the sideline, and he looks all the way across the field and tries to throw a pass to Fulgham on the complete other side of the numbers. What? What? I'm sitting here watching with my fiance, who's just a casual football fan, and she's even screaming, what is he doing? I gave a little fist bump. Proud of you. Good moment out of you. You're damn right, what's he doing? So very inconsistent. A bunch of 3-and-outs involved at times. Now, the offensive line didn't help. I thought Mailata struggled. Opeta struggled. You saw Lane Johnson go out 7 snaps into the game. He came back, and then he had to leave again due to a lot of pain. Sadly, Deshaun Jackson on a punt return got a bit of a cheap shot. He had to get limped off. He limped off, and he had to get carted off. That's probably the end of Deshaun Jackson, and it's a shame. It's not his fault. That play is not his fault at all, but you could see the difference of him being in the lineup or not. You could see the difference in the plays being ran when he is there. You could see the difference in the way the defense plays when his presence is out there. Deshaun Jackson being out is going to absolutely crush this football team. And we were all excited about him coming back and the return of Deshaun Jackson. It has been a very epic fail. It's been an emotional failure, and I would be shocked if you saw him again. All right, so on top of those couple plays I just mentioned with Wentz, missed throws, but I do need to appreciate what he did at the end. I think it's funny because, there's a lot of Nick Foles people, not even Nick Foles people, just fans who watch around the league. When guys struggle throughout the game that's not on your favorite team, and you talk about these quarterbacks, let's say they struggle for 3 quarters, but the 4th is awesome. You know what they say? Well, he found a way. The only thing that matters is the crunch time. If they can find ways to win when it's late in the game, down a couple touchdowns, if they find a way to win, that's all that matters. Okay, but when it's Carson Wentz, it doesn't matter. And I feel like that's obnoxious. Point out his flaws, no doubt. He was not, it's hard for me to say that he was good in this game. He had 3 really solid drives that stand out to me, but he had some pathetic drives as well. So it's hard for me to really assess what Carson Wentz was right now, 15 minutes after the game, because there was so much involved in his play, so many up and downs throughout the game. But if another quarterback, if Nick Foles sucks for 3.5 quarters but delivers a game-winning drive and that offense, let's say, scores 20 points, people go, he just finds a way, he just finds a way. But when it's Carson, it's not that way. It's not perceived the same way. Right or wrong, I just think it is a funny social thing to point out. Doug Pederson. Shall we? These 2-point conversion attempts, awful. I don't know what Doug Pederson is doing. Carson Wentz just delivers a great drive, 2 great drives, and then in this 2-point conversion, where's Carson Wentz out on the field? Jalen Hurts taking the snap. I called for more Jalen Hurts. I want more Jalen Hurts. All right, I do. Very underwhelmed with how he was utilized in this game. Always running. He can throw the ball too. You can put him out there more. There were times where this offense was so stale, I couldn't believe that they didn't plop him in more. I don't get it. Nothing's happening. Nothing's moving. You have an athlete there. You valued him in the 2nd round. Put him in more. And when you do put him in more, be more creative. I'm okay with some read options with him, but he can do other things. He has, one throw so far? And it was a laser. That was in the Steelers game, if I remember correctly. It was like an 18-yard gain to Richard Rodgers. He can do more than just read option stuff. And on that 2-point conversion, that was crap. Doug Pederson had some terrible, terrible stuff by the red zone. This sequence made me want to rip my eyeballs out. You had Hurts on an option play, blown up. Wentz running up the middle. How many times on 3rd and 1 throughout this game did you see him try and force things up the middle and he just gets stopped immediately by a respected Giants defense against the run? The Giants were 8th in the league at stopping the run. They're actually a good defense against the run. They're a respected D. 12th overall in the league, 8th when it comes to rushing yards, and run defense. It doesn't feel that way because their offense is such atrocious and they can't score a lot of points and they're bad on that side of the ball. But why are you going where they are strongest? I talk about this all the time. When teams attack the Eagles linebackers, you know it's coming against teams that know what the hell they're doing. When was the last time you noticed Doug Pederson attack another team's weakness? You don't see that happen. It's like Doug's in la-la land and he does whatever he wants. Oh, 3rd and 1, go up the middle. It doesn't work. So in that sequence, Hurts with the option doesn't work. Carson Wentz up the middle. And then the dumbest play call I feel I've ever seen on 4th down, where Butler doesn't even know where to be. He lines up in an area, and it's a jump ball to Butler, a tight end / wide receiver who just got here, who hasn't played. And that's your 4th down go-to call. Let's throw it up on a one-on-one matchup to a guy who hasn't played with the Eagles. I mean, are you kidding me? How can you possibly rationalize that decision? How can you sit there on the sidelines with your little play sheet and go, oh yeah, let's do this? Why? Because the size advantage is there? I see the size advantage. Guess what? That didn't mean a damn thing because that play sucked. That play was awful. That play should never be ran in a big moment on 4th down. And then what do the Giants do after that? I mean, it's just unacceptable out of Doug Pederson. I thought he had a joke of a game. I've been hard on Doug Pederson for a while. It's funny, I put up a clip of myself this summer asking how long is Doug Pederson's leash? And Eagles Twitter ripped me into shreds. This guy's an idiot. Who is this guy? What's he doing? I mean, it got some traction. Big time traction. Oh yeah? Was I wrong? I'm not saying the guy deserves to be fired right now, but I think it's fair to rip him apart and question him. What's he doing? It's bad. Now that offensive line was bad. That Jones play was bad. Robey-Coleman, he was talked about as the steal of the offseason. He sucks to this point, no? He had some miserable plays. I don't know what he was doing on that Jones run. I don't know what he was doing in the end zone, pass interference. And look, with the pass interference stuff, do you want to say that Butler had a PI? Whatever. Was there pass interference involved on Butler? Whatever. I don't care. It was the mindset going into that play that disturbs me the most. And speaking of disturbing, I'll tell you what's disturbing. When you're shaving and you're grooming downstairs, you get cut. Well, let me tell you about my friends at Manscaped. Autumn is in the air. There's no better feeling than that, may I add. And Manscaped is here to ensure you don't carve your pumpkins when you're grooming. And by pumpkins, we actually mean your boys downstairs. In fact, Manscaped is on a mission to change the way you approach caring for your balls. And great news, they just released their products in UK, Canada, and Australia. They have the Lawnmower 3.0 with the skin-safe technology so you don't cut yourself. It's magnificent. But what they did, they added to the Lawnmower 3.0 by adding the new Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer with the same skin-safe technology. They also have the Crop Care Kit, which includes ball deodorant, body wash, and so much more. You can utilize it in the shower. It's got LED lights with the Lawnmower 3.0. It's just a tremendous package that you need to look at and utilize. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code BROADS20 at checkout. Free shipping, 20% off. It's a no-brainer. Fulgham, 5 receptions, 73 yards. The kid is legit. Casually just continues to go out there and produce these type of numbers. Rodgers, 85 yards, 6 receptions. It's funny. You heard some noise about Zach Ertz being on the block and possibly being traded before the injury news happened. This news broke maybe an hour and a half before the game. You can plug and play guys at the tight end position in this system. I thought it was interesting, though, to see Rodgers have a pretty damn explosive game. John Hightower, he had a big catch. No, only one catch. 59 yards. By the way, I'll touch more on that Zach Ertz conversation on another podcast. I just don't think today is the time or tomorrow because I'm going to be doing that post-game show. Not post-game, the day after show. And you can call in. 856-442-9805, the Anytime Hotline. Leave your reaction. It's already blowing up on another level. I can't wait to react to all of your calls tomorrow. Make sure you get your reaction in. But with Hightower, 59 yards, that was a big play. And you're seeing him constantly get open. I do sense that there's something there. Now, it's raw. He's very raw. He's got a lot to learn. He has some drops, but the kid consistently gets open, and that was a big play for this team to turn the page and get production offensively, for them to go on that run and make the comeback actually happen. Big play out of him. Boston Scott, 12 carries, 46 yards, 3 receptions, 46 yards. So last year, he had some big games against the Giants, and I thought that Doug Pederson would try and utilize him in similar ways. You saw the screen game work at times. I thought he would use Boston Scott in the same way. A good coach would look at a way that his player had success against the same team. Now, the Giants, new coaching staff, new philosophy, new defense, so it's not the same when you go back and watch the tape. But a good coach would recognize that he has a player on his roster. Without Miles Sanders, he's going to have to be the top guy from the running back committee. He has had a lot of success against this specific team. Figure out what you did. While it's a new scheme on the other side, new guys, new people, they have players that have played there before. Like, you can find a way based off of what you did in the past against this team to get Boston Scott going. And I thought that you saw that. Look, I'm not saying Doug Pederson had all horrendous calls, but he had a lot of horrendous calls. Scripted plays, not horrendous. So there's something in Doug Pederson that has these scripted plays down. Maybe that's other people involved. Maybe that's the voices from other coaches putting into his ear and helping him out with the game plan. But when he has to start thinking on his toes, which you need to do majority of the time on the sidelines, that's where Doug Pederson absolutely blows my mind. There was one point in this game, I forget exactly the time on the clock. It was 4th and short on the Eagles sideline. It looked like Carson was going to go for it, and Doug had the play sheet up. He was looking, and then he was like, no, we're going to punt this thing. We're going to totally punt this thing. He was going to go for that. And there's a difference between being aggressive and being stupid. And if Doug Pederson would have went for it in that moment, that's just stupid. That's just being greedy, punting the ball in that scenario at that point of the game so early on. I know you're frustrated and you want to have the ball in your offense's hands, but 4th and 1 in that spot, I mean, come on. It's so early in the game. You're on your side of the 50. There's no reason to gamble at that point in that specific moment. Maybe he had somebody speaking in his ears going, no, Doug, because I felt he was going for that 100%. I don't know how he personally snapped out of it, because he hasn't snapped out of it in so many other damn situations before. I'm just playing the numbers here. Thomas, though, on the offensive line for the Giants, let's say he had a bad day. Something was pretty interesting, though, that I heard on the broadcast from Aikman. He was talking about Doug Pederson, talking about maybe giving Hurts drives, as if he would turn it over to Jalen Hurts for full-on drives. What? There's so much that goes into that statement. We can't even get this guy out here doing anything but read options. Yeah, we're talking about giving him full-on drives throughout. I'm sure that happened in the broadcasting meetings where these guys talk to the coaches about things before the game. But, what? I guess I'll just stash that away in the back of my head, and I'm sure that conversation will resurface down the road. But I don't know how you can't find ways to get this guy a decent amount of snaps after you value him in the second round. And I don't want to hear about, COVID-19 limited him in the offseason and things of that nature. No. You can totally, I guarantee it, with the time that you have had with Jalen Hurts to this point, you could do way more, and I mean way more, with Jalen Hurts than what you provided on this football field so far this season. There is blame to go on everyone. Carson Wentz and Doug Pederson. Special teams. The defense is weird. It's similar to Carson. Like, Carson at the end bailed the team out. No doubt about it. But he had to bail the team out because he wasn't strong after that first series, after the first couple drives involved. Like, once it went dead, it went flat, 3 and out. Things got super ugly. Missed some throws. Tried to be a hero. Interception, shovel pass, throwing across the field. Like, there were some really ugly moments in there. Carson saved the day, but he had to save the day because he was bad. The defense is in a similar mode to me where they turned the ball over how many times? They got the Daniel Jones at the end, but Jalen Mills had the interception. Josh Sweat got his hand in there to get a fumble. The defense made plays and turned the ball over. This defense never does that, so they did that. But the Daniel Jones mistake can't happen. What else was the other one? The 97-yard touchdown drive. It just can't happen. So there were some ugly moments. I just feel as a whole, when you look at how, at this very moment, it seems more of a loss than a win, you got to put the blame around everyone. People really love to just blame quarterbacks on teams. And there is just so much involved in a football game. I personally can't do that. The quarterback has more impact than other positions, but there is so much. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers has one Super Bowl. Drew Brees has one Super Bowl. These elite of the elite have one Super Bowl because there's just so much involved. It's so complex. It's not so simple. If someone like Opeta and Mailata get waxed all the time and is getting beat over and over and over again, and Doug Peterson's running up the middle, like, there is just so much that plays a role. That doesn't excuse Carson Wentz from his failures and his flaws that he had in this game, that the team was bad because of him in those moments, because there's plenty of them. I named them. The context needs to be a big part of this conversation on why it was a 22-21 win. I know people don't like to ask how. They ask how many. And the answer is 2 wins. They have 2 wins on the season. So at the end of the day, as frustrating as it was and how annoying it was and how bad it looked, they got a win that they needed. And if they win against Dallas on Sunday Night Football, they're 3-4-1 at the bye week. And in this trash division, they got a shot at things. Right now, it's hard to look that way because it should have never been to this spot. They pulled it out of their ass. They did. Did they do that because the Giants themselves? Yeah, probably. That play to Ingram should have ended the game. Ingram should have ended the game, and he missed it. Daniel Jones lobbed it, bang, missed it. Should have ended the game. The Giants themselves, up 21-10, 6 minutes left, boom, game over. They lost it. It's a weird spot to be in. But I think it's very fair to be way more underwhelmed than satisfied with pulling out with the win. And that's just how I feel initially, right after the game. I can't wait to hear these anytime hotline calls tomorrow. Remember, the phone number is 856-442-9805. And I just want to tell you a couple things here before we sign off. I have added memberships to Sports Talk with Bros. You can find it underneath my YouTube videos and on my YouTube page itself, youtube.com/Sports Talk with Bros. There's different tiers, and it just gives you an avenue to help support. A couple people reached out to me, Bros, I want to support, and I go down the standard road of, look, you listen, you watch, you react, you hit the thumbs up button, you subscribe. That's enough for me. But they're like, no, bros, I really want to support. How can I help? So I opened up the option. It's there. Go check it out. If you want to support, by all means, you do not need to at all. I just gave the opportunity due to some people reaching out. So I appreciate everyone. Love you all so much for the support. And I also want to thank Orbit Energy and Power for everything they have done for me throughout this time. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. They are dedicated to making sure that your project is completed easily and properly by using high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So make sure you check out their information. It is all down below in the description. I love my first note here. Feels like a damn loss. Second note. No, I'm just reading these. Carson Wentz, last 2 drives, especially that throw to Boston Scott. Dot. 3 exclamation points. Kelce face mask. That Kelce face mask, that's crazy. And it's so deflating. It's, how do you get mad at him, right? Like, you're a professional. You're a veteran. You're too good for that to happen. How are you put in that situation? How do you hurt this team? But Carson Wentz delivered. That throw to Boston Scott was flat out insane, and it was totally elite, and it was a hell of a catch, too. You know, you got to give props to Boston Scott. Guys made plays out there. There were some good throws by Carson, as much as I want to crush him for some bad ones, which get more recognition than the good ones. He had a nice throw to Deshaun Jackson down that left sideline, right in between defenders. Followed after that was a throw to Fulgham on the right sideline. He made some good throws in there, made some ugly ones, made some good ones, and that's the frustrating part about Carson. The inconsistency. He shows you the elite stuff, and then he shows you the questionable stuff, the hero ball stuff. That throw to Fulgham over the middle. Is he for real with that? Come on. And I thought Aikman had a good moment there on the broadcast. Say, look, if you're a quarterback watching this at home, if you're a young quarterback, don't do that. Sheesh. What was he thinking? Fulgham should have had that, though, to be fair. I thought there was a throw in the end zone that Fulgham could have had as well. Went right through his hands. It's hard to be mad at Fulgham, though, right? Because he's the Hall of Fame wide receiver. He makes sketches all the time. But I thought he missed one. And on the replay, his toe might have been out of bounds. But the next step for him would be find a way to toe tap that and bring it in. The catch was there. He should have caught it. It went right through his hands. The point I looked at there was he needs to learn at that point to toe tap. That's the added stuff that Travis Fulgham needs to maybe get the next time. But, you know, you see some tremendous stuff out of Travis Fulgham. Body control, his hands for the most part. Right after talking about a drop is not the best scenario to bring that up, but we all know that he's a Hall of Famer at this point, and he makes plays, 73 yards, 5 receptions. It's a casual day at the office for Travis Fulgham at this point. Wow. All right. Well, one hell of a game. Wow. 2-4-1. Almost lost to the stinking Giants. It was close. Wow. You know, after a 33-minute podcast, here I am, and I feel like I'm left speechless. How about that? Thank you all so much for listening. We'll have plenty more in the very near future. And I will see you next time.